EEP is ready to repair damaged electric lines in Tigray region. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yabsara Ndimtaka from African Renaissance Television Services with tonight's news. Stay tuned. The EEP is ready to repair damaged electric lines in Tigray region. Ethiopian Electric Power, the EEP, says that it is ready to resume services in Tigray as soon as the Ethiopian National Defense Force assumes control over the region. Our reporter has more details. The government has vowed to resume humanitarian assistance and basic services to citizens in Tigray region after it reached an agreement with TPLF leaders to cease hostilities about 3 weeks ago. The nearly 2-year-long war in northern Ethiopia has had a significant impact on service delivery, with electricity being cut off to the area. Adequate preparations, according to Mogos Mukonnin, EEP's communications director, will be made to restore electricity. Mr. Mogos also said that the team is waiting until the ENDF assumes control over the region and will then conduct an assessment to know the level of damage. World Assembly of Women resumes in Japan. Japan will host the disrupted World Assembly of Women on December 3rd this year. The assembly is set to deliberate on the pandemic of COVID-19 and cross-sectional gender issues. Our reporter has more details. Briefing media online on the 22nd of November 2022, Head of Gender Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Farumoto Tashiko, underscored that this year's assembly will focus on issues pertaining to the problems confronted by rural youths around the world, adding that the government of Japan organized the assembly to promote gender equality. The assembly will also deliberate on major topics related to gender disparity and the problems faced by women and girls. The assembly will also deliberate on the major topics related to gender disparity and the problems faced by women and girls. Participants of the assembly are drawn from around the world, including Ethiopia. The government of Japan started organizing the World Assembly of Women in 2014. Congolese groups protest killings while seeking help from France. Citizens of the Democratic Republic of Congo living in Nigeria, in collaboration with some civil society organizations, have staged a protest against the killings of about 10 million people in Central African countries. Our reporter has more details. The group, which assembled at Falomo Ikoyi Underbridge, marched to the French Embassy and the United Nations headquarters. During the protest, placards with different inscriptions such as "We need peace in DRC," "Militia nationalists are killing in DRC, stop them now," and "Stop genocide in DRC now," were carried by the group. Speaking at the protest, the chairman of the diaspora of Congolese in Nigeria, Dr. Kanumuangi Via, stated that the international community had remained silent despite the many atrocities being committed in Congo. Fear source as Kenya dangles imports ban. It is unclear whether the broad brush measure of foreign companies will include those from East African communities. Mr. Simon Kahero, the chairperson of the East African Business Council, told Sunday Monitor that the pronouncement appears to be a way of introducing additional levies to support local sourcing and keeps jobs in Kenya. Our reporter has more details. Kenya's President William Ruto announced a fortnight ago that his administration in the latter stages of drafting a policy will not only ensure available raw materials are exploited, but also manufacturers are protected. President Ruto said that he has instructed the Cabinet Secretary of Trade and his team to work on a policy framework to ensure they can increase their industrialization percentage, which had dropped from 9 to 7%. President Ruto gave the statement while opening Devik steel mills, adding that 16 such companies had folded in the past 5 years, thanks to the stiff competition from foreign companies. The looming global recession sparks fear in East African regions. East Africans are second-guessing what the projected global recession in 2023 could mean for them, given that the International Monetary Fund says that about a third of the world will be in recession, led by the globe's largest economies including US, China, and Europe. Our reporter has more details. The recent growth projections by the international financier puts East African countries' prospects for this and next year better than the global average, but analysts say that the region will not be spared from the coming recession. According to the IMF's World Economic Outlook report released last month, the global GDP growth rate will fall from 16% last year to 3.2% in 2022, further decelerating to 2.7% in 2023 as a result of disruption caused by the Eastern European conflict. East Africa's economy is, however, predicted to grow by an average 5.2% this year, dropping from 6.4% last year, but it is expected to accelerate to 5.6% by next year, highlighting a better performance than the rest of the world. Cybercrime has been expanding across Africa. Online scams such as banking and credit card frauds are the most prevalent cyber threats. Interpol says online scams such as banking and credit card frauds are the most prevalent cyber threats. The fear of organized online fraudsters are expanding across sub-Saharan countries, exploiting new opportunities because of COVID-19 and the global economic crisis to make huge sums with little risk of being caught. Our reporter has more details. Senior police officials have said that the growth will have a direct impact on the rest of the world, where many of the victims will be hugely lucrative. Experts attribute the surge in cybercrime in Africa to rapid growth of internet use at a time when police forces and criminal justice systems have been weakened by the economic consequences of a series of major challenges. Professor Landry Signey said that the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated digitalization around the world, but as life has shifted increasingly online, cybercriminals have exploited the opportunity to attack vital digital infrastructure. These were the news we had for you for tonight. Once again, I'm Absar Mtakka from African Renaissance Television Services. Thank you for watching.